So good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Keith Henry. I am the president of the BC Métis Federation, coming to you live for this Thursday, April 25th. It's a pleasure to be with you this evening. I have several guests on in the show with me this evening for this monthly update from the BC Métis Federation for Métis Coffee Talk. I want to welcome to the show tonight our friend, our director of research, Joe Desjardins. Joe, welcome to the show this evening.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I'm glad to be here.
Wow, you're a man of few words tonight, Joe. I'm not used to this. Well, welcome tonight, Joe. We're really happy to see you here tonight. Where are you joining us from, Joe?
North Vancouver, BC.
Perfect. Well, I'm going to go to my next guest. I know Joe will be giving us an update on some ideas later and some information later. I'm going to go to my next guest, Jeannie Cardinal, our director of Michif Language. Jeannie, how are you doing this fine evening?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much. Getting excited to hit the road. So we'll soon be seeing one of our partner communities. So I'm glad to share that a little later.
Perfect. Yeah. And it looks like you've got a pretty a cultural office in there behind you with a wall of fiddles.
Yeah, I'm from my home office, so this is really my cultural room as well. So
Excellent. Home office. That's awesome. I wish I had one of those. Of course, I'm just kidding. And then of course we've got the live band. I feel like we're like the Dave Letterman show here with the live band. And Renee and gang, how are you guys doing tonight?
We're doing good. We're all set and glad to be here.
Well, it's nice to see yourself, Mike and Sean there tonight, or on tonight. Sorry, why did I say it twice? I'm not sure. Anyways, where are you guys joining us from?
We're from Terrace, and here is Sean, and we got Mike. He's been away. He's been holiday a couple of weeks or a month,
Yep.
and he's back. So we're glad to have him.
Wow, he must be a glutton for punishment. Come back from holidays for this. Anyways, where were you at, Mike? Where was holidays?
In Mexico.
Oh, I gotta say I'm jealous. Whereabouts in Mexico were you at?
Wherever there was no snow and no ice. Puerto Vallarta.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, beautiful. Well, friends, we've got a lot to go through tonight. Renee, why don't you guys start us off with a good Métis fiddle tune right off the hop? And I'm monitoring. Just welcome to the folks online that are joining us. Just so everyone knows, I do try my best to monitor online, and I want to welcome, of course, our friends Elizabeth, Cindy is joining us from Clearwater, and others. If you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer that. But Renee, why don't we turn it over to you to begin with? What's your first song going to be?
We got a request, so we're going to play a waltz quadrille.
Excellent work, guys. Great job as always. Waltz quadrille, is that how you say it,
Waltz
Renee?
quadrille, yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Excellent. Well, yeah, people like that plucking you do with the fiddle. When
Yeah,
did you
Joe
when
was mentioning, yeah.
Yeah, backed by popular demand from Joe. How long? When did you? How many times have you played that song? Just out of curiosity, Renee. Have you been doing
You
that all your
know,
life, or is that something you learned just in the last few years?
no, the plucking came about a year ago, but before I played that for quite a few years. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks, you guys. We really appreciate you sharing some of those kind of tunes, of course. And so I'm going to jump right into the show. We got lots of topics to go through tonight. And I know there's many people watching online tonight, so just want to continue to welcome them all. They're signing in as we've been doing our first song and getting the show ready to go. But I want to just bring us, so there's a number of things I want to bring to everyone's attention. First of all, I don't know if our members or our friends or those you watching tonight realize, but we do have some employment opportunities right now. We are looking for two positions in our Michif language department. There's the Michif language administrative assistant, and of course, as you can see on the screen beside you or beside myself, the Michif language project coordinator. Jeannie, I know you're online with us tonight, our director of Michif language. Any insight? I know these are obviously these are starter positions. These are positions that, as we know, could go longer past that. But anything you want to let people know that are watching online, and anything that maybe piqued their interest to consider applying, and where are these positions located?
Yes, thanks, Keith. So these positions are created in our office at BCMF in Vancouver. So the positions are, we're beginning our first year of a 5-year plan for mentor apprentice programs. So this is building on the 5.5 years of work we've already accomplished in tracking our language. So it's now getting into the stage of our building capacity of other speakers and beginning our mentor apprentice programs. It's also coordinating silent speakers, those who have grown up in the language but stopped speaking it, and getting them connected to their language again. So it's a little bit of a twofold project. So it's really important, and we're building capacity of our speakers.
Excellent. And Jeannie, we see the deadline for all three of these positions is at the end of April. So any other words of encouragement you want? Are you looking for any specific kind of, I know the positions list all the requirements and that, but is there anything you can tip your hat on what you're looking for with tonight with folks, or just
I
hoping?
want somebody who's really passionate about language revitalization, who knows about our culture and our communities, and can work collaboratively with all ages and stages of people and with our community partners. That's going to be really a key factor, is relationships, and really being kind of a language warrior, to really triumphant our language forward and really see what we can improve upon and how we can continue to build and grow together. So I really want somebody that comes from the heart and passionate, and bringing a good, strong skill set with them.
Perfect. Well, thanks, Jeannie. We'll come back to you more about some of those Michif language events and things like that we're going to talk about very shortly, but thank you for giving some context. So those of you online, please look at those are two opportunities with the Michif language department. Yes, it says a current contract. It is an employment position, and there is potential for extension. We just want to see how the positions unfold over the next year, essentially, is what we're doing. The third one, though, is any of you that are attending post-secondary, or you have family or friends that are in post-secondary in British Columbia, we're looking for a summer student. They have to be enrolled in post-secondary starting in the fall, or they have to be this coming fall. So we're looking for a student and someone that can work in our office starting in around mid-May till the end of August. And there's a very specific work plan this year for the summer student. So it could be anyone ages, coming out of high school to, it really could be anyone up to, I think, roughly around 30 years of age. So we're just want to encourage you to let people know that we have it'll be also located in our office in Vancouver. It's a beautiful office location. We do our best to support all of these employment positions, and hope people see this as a good opportunity. I'm going to walk us now into our next, I guess, item, which brings us back to the Michif language. And we were just talking to our friend, Jeannie Cardinal, who's our director of Michif language. Jeannie, we've got a series of workshops that will be unrolling in the partner communities. And obviously we can see on the screen tonight, Learn to Speak Michif with Me. It's the Michif French language workshops. And it's coming right up. Your first workshop is in Terrace coming up. So why don't you fill people in on what's happening here?
Great. BCMF has worked again really in a committed way to revitalize our language. So we developed a 28 module community learning kit. to bring to our partner communities. So they as communities can work with the materials in a lesson planned way, very strategically, from simplistic things to learning the plurals of a language, learning the feminine and masculine of the language, to moving into sentence structure. So they can facilitate those things in their community. So we're going there to unveil and deliver those packages to each of those communities, show them what it's all about, and then give them the experience of a couple lessons that we can work on together, and to give them a demonstration of that, and just to really spend some time with each of them building this, because our programs, our language in our communities becomes really a hub for our mentor apprentice teams to be able to go out into and have another place to speak, as well as those who grew up in the language to revitalize their language. They now would have a place to go and speak and learn as well together. So it's really a short and a long-term goal outcome. So we're really excited about doing this. And of course, we're always happy to go out to see our communities. We don't get together as often as we'd like to, so I'm going to treasure every moment of it.
Perfect. So I'm just going to stop there for a quick second, Jeannie. Now we're talking about, you're going to be in, obviously you're talking about being in Terrace here on, starting this weekend. What is there any specific details you want to say about each of these workshops, for example? And as you're talking, I'll bring up the more detailed poster about what's happening in Terrace this weekend.
So we've created 28 modules of learning. They include audio files, flashcards, posters, and language practice worksheets to practice the phonetics, because we have to build mouth muscles in order to form some of the words of Michif. So you have to give yourself lots of time and patience, but we have the audio files attached to every one of the documents, so you can actually hear a fluent speaker and progress into the pronunciations and saying the words and phrases. So those things come all complete. So you're able to visually see it, you're able to hear it, you're able to practice it together, and work on it because our languages were learned orally and together. So that's how we're going to rebuild it, by working on it together as a community and as people.
Right. And so the event, so can we apprendre à parler le Michif avec moi? Did I say it close? I'm not.
That was pretty close. Apprendre à parler le Michif avec moi.
So learn to speak Michif with me. And I know I'm the president and I grew up listening to French Michif, but my goodness, I'm having to relearn it all. So if you're out there thinking, hey, I don't want to be embarrassed, trust me, I'm embarrassing myself every single day trying to figure this out. So join the club and don't be shy. It's us.
Yeah, we should never be embarrassed of our language, because that was something that was removed from us. So we're rightfully claiming it back. However, we need to do it. And there's lots of words that I still don't know, or I can't roll my mouth and tongue around in order to say. So we're able to all learn together. Nobody has hierarchy except for our fluent speakers. And those are our guides while we have them here.
Yeah. And so this weekend, I noticed it's Saturday, this coming Saturday, a few days here, 10 till 2, pardon me. I know our good friend and vice president, and also involved with the Skeena River Métis Community Association, who's our Skeena River Métis Community Association, Renee Therian, and I know Roseanne is hiding in behind the camera there. But Renee or Roseanne, do you guys want to add anything to the event and where it's being hosted this weekend?
Well, we're definitely excited to host this Michif French language workshop, and we'll have lots of food, music, and I think there'll be lots of laughter also. So we're looking forward, and I'd like to say that Jeannie were instrumental to put all this together. So good work, good job, Jeannie.
Oh, thank you.
So I guess the key message for me tonight is this is the first of looks like we've got 3 events coming up, but this is the first one for those, and these will be going around the province. So if you're watching tonight and thinking, oh geez, I'm not in Terrace, as we'll come back to the other events very shortly. But if you want to go this Saturday and you're in the Terrace or the Northwest region, you want to come into Terrace for the day, you need to call 250-641-4266 to confirm your attendance. I'm assuming a few people have already confirmed, Renee and Roseanne, but I know that you guys will do your best to help to invite anyone that wants to come in and learn a little bit of Michif language that on Saturday. So why don't we'll just stop there for a quick second. Jeannie, and I want to go to the next event on this, because there was 3 dates you talked about. The
Yeah.
next one I believe, was May 4th in Vancouver, is that you mentioned?
Yes. Yeah, at the BCM office. So that will also be, I believe it's from 10 till 2. And the contact person for that session would be Danielle Deserlet. So please reach out to her to confirm your attendance. She's already got a fair amount of people coming, but the more the merrier. So that's going to be a great session. So anybody in the Lower Mainland, please come and join us and learn your language.
But just like the last session, to
We'll
anyone
be
watching
repeating
tonight,
this.
yeah,
Sorry?
just want to like on this, I just want to say it again with the registration, because I know that we get a lot of demand for these kind of workshops. If you're watching tonight, it is critical that you don't just show up at the Federation office on Saturday, May 4th from 10 till 2. Please register. You can see Daniel is d.deserlet@bcmétis.com or call 604-368-2021. I just wanted to add that because I know we can only accommodate so many people at a session like this.
Absolutely. I think it's really important.
Yeah, so that's Saturday, May 4th. And then the last
Yes.
session.
Our next session is May 25th, and we'll be with the North Thompson Okanagan Aboriginal Association in Clearwater. And that will be also a 10 to 2 session. So if you're in that region, even if you're coming from Kamloops, come up and join us. Please make sure also to get a hold of Cindy Wilgosh. So she's doing the tracking for people attending, and we'd happy to see you there as well. We're driving up from the Lower Mainland and coming through Kamloops and heading up there.
Perfect. And you can see Cindy is c.wilgosh@bcmétis.com. And she's just there. The only way you can register for this is by an email. The point with
Yes.
registration is there's no cost. I don't. It's free for everyone. It's a service we've put on, and I really thank our vice president and yourself, Jeannie, with the Michif department, working to bring these cultural tools to the communities. And I think it's another sign of the work that we value as an organization. So I really encourage anyone watching. Is there, I guess the final question I have to you, Jeannie, is there more sessions coming beyond these 3 that we've initially put forward now?
And that's a great question. Right after the Clearwater session, we'll actually be going right back to Kamloops on May 26th. And a partnership meet and greet for the Métis people with BC Métis Federation, North Thompson Okanagan Aboriginal organization, and the Interior Métis Association will be collaborating together to put on a culture and language promotion and engagement. So please come out and join us. We're gonna have lots of fun and music and entertainment. So, and come and see what we all do and what we can offer, especially if you're in the interior region. We'd be happy to connect with you.
That's great. Yeah, but this isn't necessarily a Michif language exclusively. This is just a connecting Métis people community event, but it's the next day, as you say, from Clearwater. We're going to head up to Kamloops. A number of us from the Federation will be there. It's just sort of an information and connecting people to the organization if you're in the Kamloops area. And it'll be, as sort of alluded to, Best Western Hotel, 1175 Rogers Way from 1 till 6 on May 26th. So, Jeannie, you got a lot. And again, Cindy's the contact here if you want to get involved or attend. This isn't so much about registration. We just want to make sure to answer any questions. Cindy Wilgosh will also lead this, c.wilgosh@bcmétis.com. So, we're going to give updates on all of our programs that we've got going throughout the organization and what's happening generally with the BC Métis Federation. So, it's a meet and greet. So come on out. I know a number of us will be there. I plan to attend this. I hope to see some of you in Kamloops that day. And I know that Joe and Renee, I'm sure, will be there as well. And who knows, Jeannie, maybe you'll be there too, I guess, hey?
I think I will be. I'll be tagging along with Renee. So
Perfect. Yes. Yeah. If there's any questions online, I am monitoring. Just letting people know kind of things are going on. But anyways, I'll just I'll move on from here. But any final words, Jeannie? It looks like you got a lot going on in the Michif language department and the community events coming up.
The final words I think is just understanding that our language isn't separate from culture. It is culture. That's often how we were identified as communities in different regions, was through the language use that we had. So it's really it's not a separate cultural piece. It's really who we are as people, as our language was part of that. And without it, we don't have our full culture. So I encourage everybody to really collaborate and to help our language come back to us.
Perfect, Jeannie. Well said. I think I'll leave it at that. I'll set you free until but stay online. We might ask you some more questions.
Sounds great.
I'm going to turn it back to our colleagues, our band from Terrace. Renee, Mike, and Sean, you guys want to give us another tune?
Okay, we'll play one that we just picked up. It's called Pretty Little Cindy.
Very good job, gentlemen. Very, very good job. That was what was the name? Pretty Little Cindy?
That's right, yeah.
Well, I haven't heard you play that before, but anyways, that's a new one for me, Renee. I thought I'd heard all your songs, but I guess that's a new one for us tonight.
Well, that's a new one for us too, so
Well,
that
great
was
job.
good. Yeah.
That's great job. Well, I'm going to take us right back into the information. We've got lots going on and we want to get through. I do want to talk about, I'm going to bring our friend from North Vancouver and obviously works in our Federation office, Mr. Joe Desjardins. He's our Director of Research. And Joe, welcome back to the show. I know you come give updates from time to time, and we want members to know and partner communities to know, and of course, everyone connected with us. You know, you guys have been doing a lot of work in research, but this week you authored a new paper called Distinction-Based Approach. And what we can set the context of this really is we're seeing across, whether it's the federal or provincial or territorial governments across Canada, seem to be adopting this policy of distinction-based approach, DBA, or the acronym we'll use probably in a lot of what we're going to talk about tonight. But let's help people understand what this means. And Joe, why don't you take us through giving us some context with the you put a paper out. We'll go through it short a little bit, but let's walk through what is distinctions-based approach mean from your research, Joe.
Thank you, Keith. Thank you for inviting me to attend here tonight. And behind me, I'm supported by a team of community-based researchers. And I just have to mention that it's a team where we actually look at the research, you know, to try and understand. And it's amazing. We have our team working with digital newspapers lately. And this is frankly where some of this kind of information came from. And I got to say the power of the digitization of our archives and our newspapers, and it's just bringing us some compelling information. We think that the idea of distinctions-based approach sounds natural. You know, we hear it everywhere. We hear it in governments. It was mentioned twice in the budget last week or whatever. It's mentioned in response by the Métis National Council that they respond to this, and we hear this language over and over in relation to, say, distinctions-based funding investments for health and education. And just so that we're aware, these ideas come from somewhere. They're not inevitable. So the idea that this distinctions-based approach, there's a history of the way it originated in Canada and how it's been interplaying and creating and solidifying divisions and frankly a lot of havoc among people in terms of how they understand Métis identity. And you can see the first image there. We see it, even our provincial government, they've adopted it in some of a primer that they wrote recently. And if you go to the next page, Keith, you can see some of the nuts and bolts of it. It talks about, they're very specific. It's a political statement where they talk about a historic Métis community. They mention the Métis National Council. And so what they're doing is, you know, they're bringing the Métis National Council in inadvertently, assuming that they're the authority around Métis identity. And so they've engaged in identity politics. And I wanted to understand where that identity politics originated. Now, one thing I really noticed is the context for what I want to talk about tonight is, and I won't talk long about it, but just to introduce it for you, you can take the paper and read it yourself. But the Federal Provincial Conference on First Ministers and Aboriginal Constitution, they brought the word term Métis into the Constitution, as you're aware. And Harry Daniels was really significant for that. You have to understand that at the time, Harry Daniels was the leader of a umbrella group, the Native Council of Canada. And it said that in the documentation when I was reading through the literature thereon, it was for all to see in the media. And this basically story just spilled out into the media. And the idea that they have provided a unique and effective partnership between the Métis and non-status Indian people for a number of years. But in the days that leading up to the Constitutional Conference, what I like to call it is a slow rolling political coup d'etat, where one particular Métis group, a prairie nationalist group, came along and they decided to take it upon themselves to assert an exclusive Métis national, a very limited, narrow nationalism, and put it into the narrative and actually force it into the narrative. And they took the opportunity in and through these constitutional matters to do just that. And I see it as a real push for power, exclusive power. So you can see it here in the language. The NCC wanted to give one of the two seats, you know, to the non-status Indians. But as you scroll down, Keith, you'll see that the Métis National Council, the Prairie Métis, they came along and they said, no, we want our own national council. And there's no room for non-status Indians in the Constitution. It became a zero-sum game to these folks. And you can see how this new organization wanted not just one seat, but they wanted to go after 2 seats at this and you can see it down below, Keith. It says, we are going after our 2 seats. Just scroll down a bit further. Yeah, one more. It says, we are going after our 2 seats. And you can see that the idea of mutual recognition that had been the way that because you got to understand that the Native Council of Canada had a whole bunch of different Métis groups and a whole bunch of different non-status groups right across Canada, even into British Columbia. And there was a level of mutual recognition and respect. And what we started to see here is hostility worked its way in. It became a push, like I said, for exclusive power. And at that very critical moment, the MNC pushed the government to accept their right to determine membership in their organization. And they strategized how they get the government to accept their version of identity. So right away, Keith, it came about to be identity. So what we start to see is identity politics. And we see that today over and over again. So if you can create an identity based on who you oppose, and that's how they did it, rather than try and build bridges by creating an identity. And it's sad to see, you know, when you read this, and they forgot decades of mutual recognition between these various groups. And we see it to this day. And I'll just stop here and say that, you know, whether it's trying to apply for funding in various places or what have you, you know, I noticed the other day we were involved in, we went into an information session for funding, and there was a participant there in the chat room that appeared to be trying to make the point, politicizing the information session, that Narcan is responsible to reach out to the Métis National Council to ensure this distinctions-based approach. And we see this exclusive push for power over and over again, Keith. So it's been troubling to me, but otherwise that, you know, it's important that the listeners understand that there's a political history behind this. All right.
Absolutely. Joe, I really understand that. And I just want people to know that if they want to look at this document, like it's on our website, it's distinctions-based approach, right? And it's on if you go to our website at bcmétis.com, I'll bring it back on the screen for you here just in a moment. It's one of our top news items now. Pardon me. That's available on our website. So you can spend the time and go through that. We just scrolled through the document briefly as you're going through, but Joe's talking about in the research team, we had them put together the evolution of where the Métis movement came from, which we understand. I've been around the movement for, you know, as long as I can remember, not predating these dates, but certainly since the 90s. And so I've followed this story for a very long time. So we just want for you to be a little bit more aware of the history of the evolution of that. But the challenging becomes, we're seeing more and more. We've been saying at the Federation, one of the reasons we formed in 2011 is we didn't like where Métis government was going, amongst many things. There was many issues we saw, and we were worried about Métis identity, Métis government, you know, for British Columbia, specifically the Pacific Northwest. And it's led us down this process. And we're not the only ones saying that. You know, this was almost sacrilegious when we said this 14 years ago or so, right? But now even today, you know, we're seeing people like Tony Belcourt, and many of you will know Tony very well. He's a well-known Métis activist. He's been in the movement for many years. And now himself, he's even out publicly saying, this is an article he posted on social media today. In today's Toronto Star, there's are these Métis Nations dreams of self-governance dead? And it's because there's been infighting now amongst the Métis organizations, even involved with the Métis National Council, about this various federal legislation to recognize Métis governments. And so Tony Belcourt is now saying, he's saying that the MMF, who's at the center of a lot of this dysfunction, I would argue, because of their view that this only the Red River Métis people, denies their Métis Nation of Ontario claims. And Tony was the president there for many years in the 90s and early 2000s. But he's arguing there's only one Métis Nation originally from the Red River Métis in Manitoba. This is categorically false. Tony, in this case, I am from the historic Métis community of Lac St. Anne, Alberta. The ethnogenesis of my community began in the late 1700s, around the same time as the Red River community. Our ancestral grandmothers are Cree, and our language is Neoan, Cree. And so the ancestral grandmothers and the Red River Métis are Saulteaux. Their language base is part Anishinaabe, the same language base as the Métis of the Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, whose community was indisputably recognized by the Supreme Court of Canada in the case of the Crown versus Powley. The MMF is professing a false narrative of Métis identity. It's ironic that the MMF is hosting a conference on identity theft when they are so steeped in that theft themselves. So, I mean, you can research this, you can have your view on this. There will be those that agree with it, those that don't. But it's very true. Like many Métis mixed blood communities do not have the ancestral connection exclusively to the Red River. And that is a narrative that Canadians are being led to believe. My point to all of this, and the reason why we're so concerned about the distinction-based approach, is it seems to be walking people down that very path, that there's only one stereotypical version of a Métis person. And so I think we are trying to just raise the issue. And so, Joe, any final comments on this very important conversation? It's one that will go on for years to come. But anything you want to add to the information we're seeing out there?
I think that the historical research that's taking place across the country, really, and the Federation is involved in it too, is showing that Métis history is nuanced, it's complex, it's relational, and on one hand, I'm hearing in the bureaucracy, some of the government officials are talking to me about the idea that they are interested to ensure that all Métis access these projects and programs. So it's like, you hear different stories here and there. So I guess my point is that even back in 1875, I have a post there that it says that they were arguing in the House of Commons that there were so many shades of half-breeds, even in Manitoba, that they didn't know who to give the script to. My point is that I think that we can enshrine this narrow idea of being Métis, or else we can you know, in the spirit of Harry Daniels, open it up to ensure that all Métis of Aboriginal ancestry are included in the Constitution. And that'd be about all I have to say, Kid.
Perfect. Well, for more information, go to bcmétis.com, look at the distinctions-based approach, and give some of the history, and we will continue to raise this as the work we're doing on a number of fronts as the Federation to make sure that that agenda is as inclusive of Métis communities that don't just align with certain political ideologies. And I think that's really important for our members and our partners there tonight. Okay, really appreciate that, Joe. I'm going to go back to some music. I don't know if our friends Renee and Terrace and that are queued up. Renee and Mike and Sean, are you guys want to give us another song?
Yeah, we sure can. Okay, we'll play you a waltz called Waltzing Through the Leaves.
Excellent. Thank you, guys. I think I caught you guys getting us a coffee or something. You guys weren't ready to go and you were all smiling when the camera came back on. You must have been having a union coffee break. We don't allow coffee breaks on this show. I'm just kidding. No, thank you guys. I really appreciate that. And yeah, I really that's another song. How would you, what's your experience playing that song before, Renee, or the group?
This one here, we just learned it maybe a week ago.
Oh,
It's new song that we're learning new song for the festival.
okay, perfect. Well, we look forward to be on standby because we're gonna jump back to you here in a little bit again. But I want to move us on to a couple of other really important updates as well from the Federation, just to keep the show moving along tonight. Many of you will know we've been doing a lot of work and a lot of discussions on the coastal conservation work with the organization. And so tonight, I just want to, we've been posting it on social media, but we just, I'm sure everyone has seen in the media, we continue, you know, there's been this misperception by some of the First Nations in British Columbia that our work for coastal conservation is around asserting title and rights. It's not. It's really about coastal conservation. It's around contributing to cleaning up the environment, helping our young Métis people be good stewards of the water and land, teaching good environmental practices. And many of you might have saw earlier this month, we were featured across many media platforms because our BC Métis Federation Department, Coastal Conservation, had a tremendous successful beach cleanup in English Bay in the Lower Mainland. We had over 400 people show up to a beach cleanup event. A lot of our members and just people in general just wanting to really contribute. And, you know, I say to people all the time, it's really hard to get people out. So when I've been, you know, involved in Métis community work for years, and I know many of our coastal conservation partners will be here online tonight. I want to say thank you to all of you that have dedicated that time and energy to show the true values of the Federation. We're not here to fight First Nations title. We're not saying we've got title over their lands and water, but we are living on these lands and we are going to make sure that we do what we can to also protect the coastal waters and do our best to teach our own community good practices. And some of you might have saw this coverage. And I'm going to play for you a quick 3-minute video clip if you haven't seen it yet. We did feature it, but I think it's worth watching again if you watched it before, because we're really proud of what our Director of Coastal Conservation, Angel Fisher, Zia, and the team, and of course all the volunteers that have gone out and done to show what the Federation really stands for. So let's just take a moment and watch that media coverage we recently had.
Nature like really helps me when I'm anxious. Sometimes I need help, and that's it. That's the reason.
He's one of hundreds picking up a pair of tongs Saturday to take part in a shoreline cleanup put on by the Coastal Water Protectors. This year, organizers say the turnout was larger than ever.
I just think a lot more people these days are starting to realize the direction that our environment and climate change is heading towards, and it's not a good direction.
Coastal Water Protectors was created by the BC Métis Federation after community members were looking for more ways to get involved.
Today we have a huge group. It's just growing, and it's not only members of the federation. It's friends, it's family. I met someone today that just saw it on Instagram that had no connection to it at all. Thought it was a worthy cause.
Events like this can also help put environmental anxiety into action.
There's sort of the idea that, again, because this is a group problem that deserves a group solution, there's the idea of thinking not of how am I going to solve all of these challenges by myself, but what can I play a role in creating a more environmentally prosperous and socially equitable world.
The Canadian Counselling and Psychotherapy Association has declared April Environmental Health Month, highlighting Canadians' growing concerns surrounding climate change.
It feels good to be a part of a group of like-minded people who are also concerned. And it's a cleanup, at a local beach or a park or something, in hopes of maybe inspiring people to be a little bit more mindful.
When you talk to the young generation, sometimes they feel lost, but I think this could be one of the option for them to reconnect themselves with the environment, and they feel good about themselves after the fact.
Connection is a big part of the event, connection to other people and to the environment. And a whole lot of trash is picked up in the process.
I've got everything from a bad smoothie to a mouse trap to marijuana paraphernalia. There's a mouse trap. That was weird. Yeah.
Weird or not, it's one less piece of garbage that could end up in the ocean.
Yeah, that's airworthy. So yeah.
Karis Hogg, CBC News, Vancouver.
So clearly, we're very, very, very proud of the organization and the work of our department. And, these are the values of what we're trying to do with coastal conservation. And I hope that again, all the members that participated, we thank you, all the families that went out, the non-Métis partners and friends. I think it sends a clear message of this is important. And beach cleanup, it's one small way. And if we all take our responsibility, I think we can change things. And you saw the garbage collected in that one day with that. And it's, just want to thank all the partners. We had people donate coffee, donate snacks. It was an amazing, it turned out to be an amazing day. So again, I just really am proud of that. So where do we go to next? Well, next, I just want to say that the Coastal Conservation Program in that regard is having what we're calling Tidal Talks. And Tidal Talks, they have beach cleanups. There's many ways that we work together to support this program. But it's not just for Lower Mainland and in the waterways. It's on the land. It's where there's rivers, lakes, other areas. And so our team will be up in Fort St. John as well this weekend. In fact, on the 27th. So we've got a Midshift project happening in Terrace. And we have our coastal conservation team up in Terrace, or in Fort St. John, 2 till 3:30 at Busybody Enterprises in Fort St. John. You can join the coastal conservation team and have a meet and greet with them. And they just want to get people to share their thoughts and ideas about what's important to them in the membership of Fort St. John around conservation topics. It's just really, we just want to continue to elevate this program and include all of our Federation members and, of course, our partner communities from one side of the province to the next. So, come on out on Saturday. You can go to Fort St. John at Busybody Enterprises in Fort St. John at their office location and just check it out. Come get involved in the program. One final thing on this, though, is that if you saw on the slide, I'll bring it back on the screen for all of us. There's another piece of work that is an opportunity for those who want to get engaged. In Kitsilano on May 11th, from 10 a.m. till noon, there's another sort of a sweeping the shores activity, we're calling it. And the team will be out from 10 till noon again. And it's essentially similar like a beach cleanup, of course, but it'll be in the Kitsilano area on May 11th. So again, if you want to get involved, you can reach out to Angel Fisher and of course our Department of Coastal Conservation. So a.fisher@bcmat.com is our email. And of course, you can just look on our website to get more information about this particular department. So yeah, keep up the great work, and just want to make sure our members are very aware. Renee, team, and Terrace, you want to give us another song before we hit our last segment of the show tonight?
Perfect. Okay.
Great job, Renee. What was the name of that song again?
The Red Hair Boy.
Excellent. I'm not going to ask you any more stories about it, because every time I think you're going to tell me this neat traditional story, I found out you just learned that one last week too, I bet. Well,
We just
hey,
learned that one too, yeah.
you're the opposite of me. You can't teach me. I'm an old dog. You can't teach an old dog new tricks, but apparently I hate to say you're a little bit older than me, Renee, and I think, but you can teach me a lot, how you're still learning and learning new songs all the time. So keep up the great work. Just a couple last pieces for tonight. One of our partner communities, I wanted to make people aware tonight, members in the Okanagan area. The Métis Association of Central Okanagan is having an event on May 4th from, as you can see on the screen beside me here tonight, 1:30 till 3:30 p.m. Wine Country Studios at 1632 Brayburn Court in West Kelowna. It's it's just an artistic event. Create your own spirit animal. It's a spiritual guided meditation workshop. So those of you looking to connect to some community friends and get involved, this is another just a fun event to bring members together and have a little fun and do some just a spirit animal sort of style workshop. And I know I've seen people participate in various spirit animal workshops myself lately, and it seems like everyone has a really, really good time. So I hope people get out in the Central Okanagan. As well, I want to remind people we have a very robust job board at our website at bcmat.com. These are some of them. I'm just going to screenshot here showing you some of the new employment opportunities. I just continue to remind members and friends watching this show or watching the recording after, if you're looking for work, there's lots of job opportunities in many different sectors posted all the time. And this is some of the recent highlighted jobs. Forest manager, it's a permanent full-time job in Prince George. Asphalt plant ground person, that's a permanent full-time in Revelstoke. We've got supply chain coordinator, that's in Coquitlam, and planning forester, that's another job in Prince George. But there's literally several other hundreds of jobs that are posted. If you have a job opportunity, don't be afraid to reach out to us at bcmat.com. Our team updates the job board all the time. We are trying to connect our members and provide them as many opportunities as possible. So just remember the job board opportunities that are available there. The last piece, though, I did want to talk, I also just, and on that note, I should say, the person that's leading our job work, our employment and training work now is, of course, Jennifer Percival. She's been with the team with the BC Métis Federation over the last last basically going on just about a year and a half, 2 years. And she has moved in her work as starting sort of just in a modest role to begin with to now helping with the industry employment coordination. And she provides assistance with resume review and editing if you just want to get some guidance, cover letter support, job matching, training opportunities, access to hundreds of open positions with industry partners, and those I shared with you a brief snapshot of those, and engage follow-up and ongoing support. So if you need help to talk to an HR department within a company you want to work with, Jennifer might be someone you can reach out to and get some support with. So, you know, Jennifer does a great job. We're very happy to have her on it. This is one of the job fairs she was just recently at in the Okanagan, I believe this one was. So yeah, if you want to learn more and connect with Jennifer about a job, just please email at j.percival@bcmétis.com, and we're just super happy. So just reach out to her. She'll give you a hand. Last thing though, the last sort of major area, you know, we work in a number of areas, and now I'm going to switch. My final piece tonight is around our industry engagement. So the Federation works on several projects across the province. Whether it was Trans Mountain, and we've updated members here on a regular basis. We do that with many other projects. So tonight, just a very quick snapshot. We've been working with Enbridge on 2 new projects they're working to bring to life here in British Columbia. And we've talked about it before, the Sunrise expansion, as well as the Aspen Point program. And each of these is owned by Enbridge. And so I'm just going to quickly show you a fact sheet on Aspen Point, and our team led by Taylor McLeod, our Director of Industry Engagement. So she meets with the Enbridge representatives. And so what is Aspen Point program? Well, here's what it is. It's a company, West Coast Energy Inc. It's registered as that company. It's an Enbridge Inc. company, so it's owned by Enbridge. They've set up this company underneath of Enbridge. And they own and operate a natural gas transmission system in British Columbia that transports processed natural gas for markets throughout BC, Alberta, and the Pacific Northwest. This gas is used to heat homes, businesses, hospitals, and schools. It's also used as a fuel for electric power generation and a staple in a number of industrial and manufacturing processes that produce hundreds of products that improve our lives. So here's a little bit about who's West Coast Energy Inc. The installation is 3 pipeline segments. So the lines are there. These are actually just amendments, if you will, to those lines. And so they're installing 3 pipeline segments. These electric-driven compressor units with power lines and new meter station, as well as modification to existing compressor stations. So I'm not an expert in transportation of natural gas and these kind of products. So I really rely on the information that we can share with you, and we will continue to add this to our website in the industry department area. So bottom line is that the scope, if you look at the project scope, basically what they want to do is that they want to add approximately 18 kilometers of new pipeline segments. Is currently anticipated, approximately 8.9 kilometers of new 24-inch diameter pipeline looping. So these are large scale pipes, and approximately 7.7 kilometers of new 36-inch diameter, and then finally approximately 1.4 kilometers of new 30-inch. So 3 segments, right? And so this is really in Northeast British Columbia. So those members around Fort St. John, Hudson Hope, Chetwynd, Kelly Lake, you know, old Fort Nelson, up in that northwest, sort of northeast area part of the province. So, you know, you can see where the existing pipeline is, where the additional segments are, and these are the green. So this is the green section here, and of course we see another small green section here. So these are the amendments, or these are the new installations they're proposing. So we're working with them. We're trying to figure out, you know, what's the opportunities, if any, for members, and of course, just working on this project is just to share information and get involved with that. So just be aware that we're working on that. The Sunrise program we've updated before with members. This is a much larger program run by Enbridge. Again, this is a program or a project that is it's owned by West Coast Energy. Again, it's a company owned by Enbridge, and you can just see here, this is a much larger project. You can see this is running all the way from Northeast British Columbia, similar to where we saw the amendments, and I'm putting the cursor on here now. I'm not sure it shows up on your screen or not, but it's all the way down into Vancouver. So these are, this again is some additions to existing lines. You can see all the new, the sort of the potential pipe looping all the way down the system they're adding. So it's to increase the capacity to some existing lines and just expand some existing lines or lines that need to be added in their different areas, if I can just simplify it for everyone tonight. So each of these is really a lot of work, and there's a lot of potential for procurement, employment in some of these areas on the larger scale of Sunrise, of course. So we've shared some information in the past. You know, we're talking about the environmental supports we're trying to do to make sure, and we're working with obviously our people that are harvesting on lands and collecting traditional medicines in some of these areas and so forth. So we're just trying to make sure we understand that. We have been invited to the regulatory process. That goes without saying. And so those people that are following along, just please make sure that to watch for information. We will continue to update you on these 2 new projects. There's others, but we're just working through the details. But of course, Sunrise and Aspen is something that's going to be important to our industry department work for the next little while. So that's just a very, very short summary and update of those programs. There's a lot more detail. We'll provide a much more robust update in the future. But that pretty much brings us, you know, almost to the close of the show. Renee, why don't you guys give us, you know, one last maybe song or 2, so while we wind down the show for this Thursday, April 25th, and then I'll sign us off. So I'll go around, do one last loop with everyone. So why don't you give us one song, Renee, and we'll go from there.
Perfect.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Great job. You know,
You're welcome.
again, appreciate all your support every show. You know, Mike, Sean, and then Renee. I just can't say enough how much we value and appreciate your support to help share a bit of Métis music. And you know, it's fiddling. It's really a combination of that old style bluegrass and Métis fiddling all together. So I just want to sincerely thank the 3 of you for the contributions you make every month.
You're welcome. Anytime.
Well, we will ask next month then. Anytime we'll be back next month live with them. To my friends, Joe and Jeannie, thank you for being on the show tonight. Joe, any final comments as you say goodbye to our members tonight?
Thank you for the opportunity to share this tonight. That was great. And Renee, I loved your fiddling. You guys are awesome. And I just wanted to mention stay tuned for something that we're going to be putting out at the research end of things. It's called Métis Minute. So we're going to do some little videos that showcase Métis history in the Pacific Northwest and some of the research we're doing. So we're excited about that. So stay tuned, Jeannie.
Perfect. Well, thanks, Joe. Well, it can't be authentic if it's a Métis minute. None of us are a minute for anything. We say a minute or 20 minutes, so can't be us. So, anyways, Jeannie, thank you for your time tonight. You gave a lot of great information. Any final words of wisdom you want to share with members and partners watching tonight?
I'm just getting really excited about going out to our partner communities and spending time with them. And the next stage of our development with the Mentor Apprentice program. So I'm really excited for BC Métis Federation and where we started off with a concept and we're now where we are. So kudos to Renee and everybody else that has supported that to help it come to fruition. So thank you, BCMF.
Perfect. Well, thank you, everyone. We're so thankful for you to give up an hour of your evenings once a month to get some information. This was definitely an information-packed show. We've got meetings coming up this weekend in Terrace and Fort St. John, and then we're all over the place. So just want to say thank all of you. Please share the information, get involved, become a member, and we will be giving a lot more updates in the next month. We're working on a new strategic plan in May. We'll be giving highlights about the outcomes of that at the end of the May. Just to let people know where the vision of where we're going over the next number of years. And we've got lots of other updates. What Joe talked about Métis Minute, and I'm sure we'll have many new Michif language pieces and other pieces that we'll have to share with. So with that, my name's Keith Henry. I'm the president of the BC Métis Federation. Thank you for joining us this evening, and we will see you next month in May. So have a great night, everyone, and thank you for joining us.